Okay, folks, welcome to 1775 Rebellion. Okay, so let's get into it. Jen will be playing the American side. Okay, she will be playing the Continental Army, and her first three cards are Colonel Lewis. Okay, and then during the reinforcement phase, she could add 2 Native Americans plus all fled Native Americans to a city in a colony that she controls. Okay, now Colonel Lewis Cook was an influential Iroquois Indian leader and the highest ranking Native American in the Continental Army. He was the lifelong enemy of Joseph Brant. Okay, she also has a movement card where she can move 1 army up to 3 territories away. And then she has another movement card where she can move 3 armies up to 2 territories away. She will also be playing the Patriot Militia. Now she has a boat movement card, which means she can move 2 armies that consist of 3 units. These units can be either 1 Patriot Militia and 2 of her other allied factions, whether it be the Continental Army or the French, or all 3 of them can be Patriot Militia, or a combination of the 3. Okay, and she can move 2 of these 3 unit armies anywhere from 1 territory that is adjacent to a sea or to a water area to another territory that is adjacent to water. But both armies have to go to the same territory. Okay? Well, there's a battleship card that'll allow you to do different things, okay, with armies. We'll get into that when we get to it. Okay, she has another movement card where she can move 2 armies, 2 territories on land. And her final card is an event card. It's Sons of Liberty. It says play in the movement phase. She can move up to twice the number of armies depicted on this turn's movement card. And this cannot be applied to any boat movement cards. Okay? And it says the Sons of Liberty was a political group made up of American patriots dedicated to independence. Okay, so that's the 3 cards Jen has for the Patriot Militia. Now I am going to be the British side, so I have an event card. It's New York Bay. Okay, and I play this during the reinforcement phase. I could add 2 British regulars and 4 Hessians into New York City, even if it's occupied by the enemy. Okay, during the summer of 1776, a massive British fleet arrived in New York Harbor, bringing 30,000 soldiers to crush the rebellion. Okay, next I have a warship movement card. I call it a battleship, sorry about that. Okay, so this means I can move 1 army, any size army, to an adjacent territory on water twice. Okay, so I can move 2 armies to the same territory, or I can move each individual army to a different territory, depending on what I choose. And then finally, I have a movement card where I can move 2 armies up to 3 territories away. For my Loyalist Militia here, I have 1 movement card where I can move 3 armies up to 1 territory away. Okay, I have an event card, John Butler. I play this at the beginning of a battle phase. So I have 1 free attack roll before each battle this turn. Okay, and the only results that count is a hit result. Okay, and it says John Butler was a loyalist who formed a special unit known as Butler's Rangers. These Rangers allied themselves closely with natives and fought mostly on the northwestern frontier. Next I have another event card, which is Queen's Rangers. It gives me +2 movement to all armies this turn. Okay, it cannot be combined with a boat movement card. I had to play this in the movement phase. And it says the Queen Rangers were a loyalist unit that fought in many battles during the Revolution and helped defeat Washington at the Battle of Brandywine. That's the cards we have. Now, during the setup, it got changed a little bit during the setup video. There was noise, blah, 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 whatever. But basically, I placed additional troops in Boston, Delaware, and then over here in Halifax. And Jen placed additional troops in Rhode Island here, and then in Hartford. Okay, so let's get to it, shall we? Alright, what we'll do first is we'll draw a random turn order die from this bag. They're just blank dice. The colors of the factions you have, they determine who goes first. And the first one will be me with my regulars. Okay, so now I can place 4 additional units of my faction in a territory that has a city in it and a colony that I control. Okay, it wouldn't be Connecticut, I don't control that, but say Dover here, as long, you know, as I control it. And in order for me to control it, I have to have either my regulars in it or my loyalist militia units in it. Okay, so let's get a game plan here. First thing I want to do is look at my cards to see what I have. Now, I have this card here where I can move 2 units 3 territories away. I also have this warship card here where I can move 2 armies, you know, anywhere to a territory adjacent to sea from one territory to another. Okay, and that means I could even go from, like, say, Delaware here all the way up to the St. Lawrence River here to around like Quebec City. I could go from here to this territory or this territory. Cannot pass this bridge here. Okay, this grayed out area, which represents land movement. You can go from one territory to another across this land bridge. However, if you were, like, say, over here in New York and water divided your territories, you could not cross that unless there was a land bridge. Alright, so what I think I want to do, now I could play the warship movement card or this 2 army movement card. And this will, I think I'm going to hold on to this. I think I'm going to play the warship movement card. Okay, and I'm going to play the warship movement card, and I think I'm going to play this New York Bay. Okay, so that'll give me my ally, the Hessians, the orange cubes, and 2 more British regulars. Okay, so I got to play that in the reinforcement phase. Alright, so first let's do the regular reinforcement. What I plan to do with the warship card is I plan to go from Halifax in the Falmouth there and attack Jen there, try and take over Maine, get another colony. Okay, I'm going to do that with 1 army. With the other army, I think what I'm going to do is I think I'll come here into Connecticut. Alright, and the reason I want to do that is she only has 2 colonies under control, so if I do that, she'll be forced to just concentrate on one or the other colony for reinforcements. Okay, and I think what I'll do is I'll take out Hartford. Yeah, well, I'll probably take out New London because there's not as many troops, but then I'll be surrounded, which isn't a bad thing, you know. But it'll choke the amount of reinforcement she can play. Okay, so I'm going to first play my regular reinforcement, and I'm going to put 2 of my regulars, and I'm going to put them here in Halifax. Remember, it's got to be in a colony, in a city, in a colony that you control. Okay, I control Nova Scotia. I'm placing them in Halifax. Now the other 2, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to place them up here in Quebec City. Okay, so there we go. Now, if I had any fled units from the turn before, they'd be here in this box. I could take however many fled units are there and then also place them in a city under my control. Okay, but I don't have it. It's the first round. Now I play this event card, New York Bay. So I'm going to put 2 regular units. Okay, 2 regular units. Place them in New York Bay, or New York City rather. And I'm also going to place 4 Hessians. Alright. And then I'm going to discard. So there we go. 4 Hessians. Now, it's time to play the movement card. And I'm going to go with this warship card. But I changed my mind. I'm going to hold off on Connecticut or Rhode Island. I'm going to wait to another turn. My forces are building up pretty good there, so I changed my mind. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the warship card like I was going up, but instead I'm going to go down south because it's going to be harder for Jen to reinforce her units down south. Okay, so I'm going to take 6 units from Halifax. Okay, and I'm going to go into South Carolina here. And then I'm going to take three units you know what? I'll take 4. Okay. You know what? I'll take them all. I'm going to take all my units there. And now, in order to move an army, you have to have at least 1 unit of your faction in that army. Alright, so I'm going to take all of the army units in Quebec. And I'm going to come down here in North Carolina. I'm sorry, I went to South Carolina last time, not North Carolina. Okay, so that is the end of the movement phase. Again, if I had any cards that played during the movement phase, I would have done that, but I didn't. Okay, so now that I am in territories with the opposing army, with Jen's army, we do the battle. Okay, so Jen will go first. And we'll start off with South Carolina. Now she has 1 unit of both of her factions there, so she'll roll 1 die each. The defender always rolls first. And we have a hit. So then I decide which unit I want to lose. And I will choose a loyalist militia unit because I have less of a chance of hits with the loyalist. Okay, with the loyalist and the patriot militias, you have a 1 in 3 chance of getting a hit, whereas they will have a 1 in 3 chance of fleeing and then a 1 in 3 chance of a command decision. Now, with the regulars, I have a 50-50 chance of getting a hit. Okay. So, I will lose 1 of my loyalists. And then Jen's Continental Army guy has to flip. So, you would just place him over here in the fled unit box. Okay? So now, it goes over to me, and I have 2 loyalist armies there and 3 regulars. So I can roll 2 regular dice because that's the maximum dice I have. And even though I have 3 loyalist dice, I can only roll 2 because I only have 2 units. Okay, so let's roll. And I got 3 hits and a command decision. So naturally Jen loses control of that territory. And now I have a command decision with 1 of my loyalist armies. My loyalist army units. So I can decide on whether to move them here or here. Okay, now if this were taken over by the Americans on all 3 sides, I had nowhere to move them. You know, another territory that is in my control, I have to stay where I am. So now I have to make the decision, do I want to leave them here or do I want to move them into one of these other territories? And I think I am going to move them. I'm going to move them over here into Georgia. Okay, I want to try and gain control of the South. So now we go into North Carolina. Jen will defend. She gets 2 hits. So I'll go 1 and 1. Okay. My turn. I have 3 dice. So I get 2 hits and Jen loses North Carolina. That territory in North Carolina. So now I will draw back up to 3 cards, and I get my truce card, which will allow me to move 4 units up to 2 territories. And then I get this event card, Joseph Brant. Okay, and I play that during the reinforcement phase. I could add 2 Native American units plus all fled Native American units in the fled box to a city and a colony that I control. Alright, and this is the only way that you can reinforce Native Americans, is through card play. Okay, and it's the only way you could dispatch fled units for Native Americans, through card units. Okay, and it says, Joseph Brant was a Mohawk military and political leader who led natives and loyalists against the American revolutionaries. Okay, so that is the end of the regulars. We go on to the next player's turn. We'll see who that is. And we have Jen's up with her Continental Army. So, Jen can reinforce 4 units, and she has this 1 unit here in the fled box. Okay, so let's see what she has and what she wants to play. Now, she has this Colonel Lewis card, which will give her +2 Native Americans, and then any fled units she could add to her armies. And then she has 1 unit, 3 movements, and then 3 units, 2 territories. So, let's see what she wants to do. Okay, she's going to hold on to Colonel Lewis. And, let's see which one of these 2 movement cards she wants to play. Now, she could get right into battle. She could play this 3 army, 2 territories. She go right into New York and then right into Boston, and bring some guys from just outside of Boston in, and try and gain control of Massachusetts and eliminate this growing force in New York Harbor. Or she could play this 1 army, 3 movements, which would be good to reinforce, somewhere down south, as long as her territories butt up against or are empty. She could go from one territory to the next. Like, say if she reinforced here in Norfolk, Hartford. Okay, she could take 1 army, go 1, 2, 3 spaces away. As long as they're controlled by her or empty. So she's got to decide on what she wants to do there. She could also reinforce Hartford and then move 2 armies and attack Princeton and try and, take control of another colony, and then, be prepared to start chipping away at these guys here. So this is a decision she's going to make. There's a lot of interesting decisions in this game. What I think she's going to do is she's going to reinforce Rhode Island down here. Okay. And then she's also going to reinforce New London here. Okay. And then we take that 1 fled unit in the fled box, and she could place it like she were placing a reinforcement card. Okay. And then she's going to play this 3 army, 2 movements. Or no, you know what? She's not going to do that. She's going to play this 1 army, 3 movements. Okay, and what she's going to do is she's going to take this force here. She's going to go 1, 2, 3, and she's going to try and gain control of New Hampshire. Okay, so she's going to play that, discard that card, and she's going to take 3 of her regulars, of her Continental Army, and then 1 of her Patriot Army, or Patriot Militia units, and she is going to go against this lonely loyalist soldier there. Alright, now when she moves, she cannot like go and then drop one unit off and continue to go. Okay, gotta keep moving. All right, and that's all she's going to do. So on the defender, I will roll first. I roll a hit. Jen decides who she wants to lose. In this case, she wants to lose her Continental Army officer, or unit. And that's just so she can have 3 dice on this roll. Okay, so she would have 2 dice for the Continental Army, 1 die for the Patriot Militia, and then she'll roll. And she got a hit naturally and eliminated me from New Hampshire and gain control. So you automatically place a control marker on the state. Okay. So that worked out pretty well for her. She just, she wants to, this is going to be a major battle in here eventually. So she's trying to reinforce, build up her forces, but in the meantime she gained control, so she has another drop-off point for reinforcement. Okay, so that's the end of that. We draw back up the 3 cards. She has this movement card, 2 armies, 1 movement. Okay, and then we check to see who goes next, and we do that by drawing one of these markers. And we got my loyalist. Okay, so I'm going to place one of my, or 4 of my units on the board. Where am I going to go? Let's see what they got to play with cards. Alright, she's got this Queen Rangers. She can move 2 movements, plus 2 movements to her army, or my armies here. Or I can move 3 armies, 1 space. Or I got this 1 free attack roll before each battle during this turn. And I think I want to play this movement card and John Butler here. Okay, and now we're going to go in here. We're going to take care of Hartford. Okay, so hold on to these for a minute. Okay, I got to play this John Butler card, which will give me, I'll roll 1 die. If it's a hit, I take that result before the battle starts. Okay, and I got to do that during the battle phase. So I'm going to place 2 reinforcements down here in Boston. Okay, and then 2 more down here in New York. New York City. Okay, so now I'm going to play the movement card. 3 armies, 1 movement. So, first army. First army is going to be New York. I'm going to move all of them. Okay. I'm going to go right into Hartford here. Okay. Now up here in the northeast, it's a little tight. Okay, so I don't want to get these cubes confused later on. So let's try and keep them together, shall we? Okay. So there we go. I'm going to take. I'll take all the Hessians. Okay. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 2 her 6. I think that's pretty good odds. So that's 1 army. My second army. I'm going to go from Delaware here. I'm going to go into New Jersey. You know what? I'm going to take 1 more. Okay. Leaving it kind of thin down there, but that's okay. Okay. Now, for my third army, I'm going to take these guys here, and I'm going to go up into North Carolina a little more. Okay? And, you know what? I'm actually going to take all of them. Okay? Because I can still gain control even though this is empty. Okay? So, now I have this John Butler card. It'll give me 1 free attack before each battle. So, we're going to start off here. I'm going to roll 1 die with my my loyalist. I got her flea, doesn't count. Okay, only hits count with the John Butler card. So now, Jen will roll to defend, and she has a flea action. Place him in the flea box. Okay, and I just gained control of South Carolina. Okay, let's go in the Jersey here. So, same thing, I got the John Butler card, I roll. I have one hit. Jen decides she's going to lose this guy here. Okay, and then Jen will roll as the defender. She has a hit, so I'm going to get rid of one of my loyalists. And then I roll as the attacker. I get 2 hits. I just gained control of New Jersey. Okay, there we go. And now finally the big one here. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to roll for John Butler there. Let's see what happens. I get a flea, doesn't count. Alright, so now Jen is the defender. She will roll with 2 dice for her Patriots and 2 dice for her Continental Army. And she gets 3 hits and a flea. So we resolved the hits first. Let's see, I'm going to choose one of my loyalists, one of my Hessians. You know what, I'm going to do 2 of my Hessians. Okay. And then one of Jen's Patriots must flee. Okay. And now it's my turn, so I roll my 2 regulars, my 1 loyalist, and my 2 Hessian dice. Okay, so the Hessian dice, you get 2 hits, 3 hits, you get 3 hits, 2 blanks, and a flea. And that really sucked. Alright, so he runs away, and I got a bunch of command decisions to make here. It's 5-1-5 now. Do I want to run back into New York and hold strong there, or do I want to continue to attack? You know what? I'll stay. Okay, so goes over to Jen. Now Jen lost one of her Patriots, so she loses 1 white die, and she has a hit, a flea, and a command decision. So I will choose to lose. You know what? I'll lose one of my regulars. They'll still allow me to roll 4 dice. Jen has her Patriot flea, and now she has a command decision. Does she want to run or stay? She really wants to try and keep control of this colony. So she's going to stay. Okay. And then I roll 2 and 2. Okay. 2 hits. So Jen will lose 2 of her Continental armies. And then I have 2 command decisions. I'm going to stay. Okay. Jen's back up. She rolls 2 Continental armies. She gets a hit and a command decision. I'm going to lose one of my Hessians. Okay, and then her command decision, she figures she loses it. She's going to lose this colony. She's going to back up in here in the New London. Okay, and now I lose one of my Hessians. Damn it. I throw the dice all over the place. Okay, here we go. I get a hit. The Hessians prevailed. And then a command decision, I'm going to stay. I'm not going to back out. Now I could just leave it, but she's lost control of the colony, so we take the control marker off. So I could just back into New York. It was like, I'm in a bad spot here. I just want to chip her away at her a little bit. But you know what? Now I'm going to stay there. Okay. Hopefully I can reinforce it the next round. Okay, so that's the end of that. I discard John Butler here. I draw back up the 3 cards. reinforcement of the Hessians, okay? And I play this during the reinforcements phase. I could add 2 Hessians plus all fled Hessians to my reinforcements. Britain hired over 30,000 German Hessian soldiers to fight against American revolutionaries. I have a movement. Okay, I can move 2 armies up to 2 territories. It is now Jen's turn for her Patriots. Okay, and let's see, what's she going to do? She has 4 reinforcements. Okay, so Jen has 4 reinforcements plus these 3 fled units down here. What she got here? She can move 2 armies, 2 territories. She has a boat movement, so she can move 2 armies of 6 units, 2 territories away by sea, and Sons of Liberty, which means she can move twice the number of armies, except for with boat movements. So in essence, if she wanted to, she could play the Sons of Liberty and move 4 units 2 territories away, or 4 armies 2 territories away. Okay, so she's going to reinforce Connecticut here. Okay, so what she wants to do is she's going to pile all these guys into Rhode Island here, alright? And, including her, with her fled units, she's going to place 1 down here in Portsmouth. Okay, and then, you know what she's going to place 2 in Portsmouth. And then the last one in Connecticut. Or Rhode Island, I'm sorry, not Connecticut. Okay, and now we're going to go into the movement phase. She's going to hold off on this boat card. Alright, I think what she's going to do, I think she's going to play the Sons of Liberty, which will give her 4 movements. Now, I could wait, just hold off. No, you know what I am. I'm going to hold off on that until things get a little dire. Alright, so what she's going to do is she's going to move 2 units, or 2 armies, 2 territories away. Okay? So, first thing she's going to do is come in here into Connecticut. She's going to get Massachusetts back. So, let me try and keep these straight so I don't mix the armies up. Or the units up. Okay, so she's going to go, you know what, one more Continental Army. Okay, and then what's that leave her? She's going to come. No, you know what? She's not. She's going to stay. I was going to say she's going to attack. She's going to attack Boston, but that's just way too many. Now she could. She could go another route. You know what? She's not going to go into Connecticut here. She's not going to go into Hartford. Instead, she's going to attack Boston here. So let me move these so I can get all these guys in here. All right. Okay, so there we go. There is the English forces. Okay, so now 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let me bring these guys back. She changed her mind on that. I'm sorry about the train going by. Alright, so one more each. So that was 1 army that she moved. Okay, so you know what? Might as well go all or nothing. Alright, so she's going to bring these guys in. And then she'll bring in a couple units from back here. Okay. There we go. There we go. Alright, so that's what she's going to do. She's going to go into Connecticut. I'm sorry. She's going to go into Boston from Massachusetts and Rhode Island. Okay? So, I will go first. As a defender, I roll all of my dice. And what do I got here? I got 2 hits. So Jen will decide 2 of her Patriots will go. I got 1 flea. So one of my cowardly loyalists runs away. And 2 command decisions. I have nowhere to go, so I got to stay. Okay? Can't flee by sea. Alright, now Jen's up and she's going to roll all of her dice. Okay, let's see what she gets. And that much, not much at all. Alright, so she got 1 hit. I'm going to get one of my loyalists to go away. And she has 1 of her Patriots flee. And then she has 3 command decisions. 2 Patriots, 1 Patriot and 2 Continental Army. She's going to stay. She's going to hold off. Okay. She's going to stay the course. Okay, so back to me. Okay, and I have 2 hits, a flee, and 2 command decisions. So, Jen, again, she'll choose, you know what, she'll get rid of 1 and 1. Okay. And then 1 of my cowardly loyalist runs. And then, again, I can't go anywhere. So, I'm stuck in the fight. Back to Jen. Now Jen still rolls over dice. And that was a command decision. I flipped it, trying to move it. I have 2 hits, or Jen has 2 hits, a flee, and a command decision. Where do I want to go here? I'm going to go 1 and 1. I can only roll 2 dice for my regulars anyway. Okay, so that'll give me a 3rd die with the loyalist. Okay, so 1 of Jen's Patriots flee. They're not well trained. They get scared. And she has 2 command decisions. Now she's got to make a decision. Does she want to pull back or stay? You know what? She'll pull 1 of... Nah. You know what? She'll hold off. Okay. Back to me. So now I'm down to 1 loyalist, 2 regulars. And I get 3 command decisions. That really sucked. Really sucked. Alright. Goes back to Jen. Jen still rolls all of her dice. And a bunch of her guys flee. That really sucked for Jen. Alright, so 2 loyalists and 1 Continental Army. I'm sorry, 2 Patriots and 1 Continental Army. And then she has a command decision. She's going to stay. She's going to see this thing through. She wants Massachusetts. Back to me. I got a hit and a flee. And then a command decision. Jen will get rid of 1 of her regular or Continental Army. My loyalist flees, and then I gotta stay, so see this thing through. And Jen's back up, and she has 3 dice now. She gets 2 hits, and she just gained control of Boston. And 1 of her Continental Armies flees. Okay, so we put a marker there. Worked out pretty well for Jen. Not so much for me. She now has Massachusetts, and she will draw a new card, and it has 1 army, 3 territories away. Then she has the boat and the Sons of Liberty. So that is the end of the round. Now, if this were the end of the third round or any subsequent round, we would check for truce cards. If both factions of one side had their truce card out, the game would end, and then we would tally up who has control over the most colonies, and that would be the winner. If it were a tie, Canada would win, and us Americans wouldn't like that. But being it's only the first round, that doesn't happen. We simply move the round marker and then throw the turn order dice back in the bag, and we start over. Okay? Okay, folks, I'm going to stop the video here. I'll leave a link in your screen so you can click on and continue to the next part of the video. Get gaming, have fun. Thanks for watching.